Three. Hello, everybody, and welcome to your weekly recap show. We have another special fill-in guest tonight, Jake Masser, owner of Masturbation. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ross. Pleasure to be here.
All right, so looking at this past week, week 7, the biggest storylines, obviously me and Jamie tying at 98.3 points. I believe it's the first tie in the fractional era of point scoring. Your initial thoughts, Jake?
Never thought we would see that again after that string of ties between Al and Andy. But you guys just, this league never ceases to amaze.
It's true. It's true. And you're going to have to speak up.
I guess you guys should just be happy that you both tied with mediocre scores and not 130 to 130 and wasted a big score.
That's true. That's true. I'm pissed that had I started or kept Larry Fitz or Stormy J. Johnson in the lineup, I would have won. But whatever. I guess it's also good that I didn't lose, so I'll take it.
Well, yeah, a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking to do after a tie like that. So
exactly. Hindsight's
I'm sure
always
Jim is beating himself up too.
You got it. All right, so looking at the standings, we have John at 5-2, leading the Happy Endings division, with myself right behind, and then Kindergarten Cop Thompson Takeover. In hard times, we have the Flying Macackies and yourself at 5-2, and then the Fighting Frog Swamps and WrestleMania right behind. We'd like to note the two longest winning streaks right now are a winning streak of 2, which is Chooch and Snoots. What do you think about the standings, Jake?
Well, I think, we're about a third of the way done with the season, and there's certainly some surprises. I think, the Washington Woo-Woos have just continued to impress, although they had a little hiccup last week.
Yeah.
I think in the Hard Times division, it's kind of the same story, except the Quackers are really having a down year, unfortunately for them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of football left to be played. A couple of things I think are interesting is Chuck has really improved his team with some trades over the last couple of weeks, and he's put a little 2-game win streak together.
Right.
And the perennial most unlucky player in the league, Mr. Ricky Snoots, is sitting after week 7 with the fewest points against,
right,
making him the most lucky player of 2014.
That's true. So, it's a lot different.
Sorry, Ricky, but you can't blame it on bad luck this year, buddy.
Can't hang your hat on that one. Not this year. All right, looking at week 8, Jake, we have a lot of good matchups. Let's start with the Thompson Takeover versus Burgalicious. It's really a rivalry that has gone back for some time now in the Happy Endings division. I'm a half game ahead of the Thompson Takeover with my tie. I'm pretty comfortable in my roster this week, my starting roster at least. This is kind of the team that I've been trying to put together these last few weeks. I got McCoy coming back from a bye. Jimmy Graham now healthy, knock on wood. Didn't get me any points last week, but didn't play too much. More of a decoy. I think he does well this week, so that'll be a big lift for my team. I'm going to take myself in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, this is going to be a high-scoring matchup, I think. Thompson's receivers are just stacked, and it's been a couple weeks since Jordy Nelson's really gone off, so I think he's due for a big game against that New Orleans secondary. And, this is going to come down to, Ross, I think, whether or not Jimmy Graham is himself.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
He put up a bagel last week for you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think that depending upon how he goes, your team was going to go this week.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do like your roster. I do like your roster. You've made some moves. You benefited from a couple of former masturbation studs in Murray and Tate.
Yeah. And
I'm
McCoy
still waiting for Murray to get hurt.
Actually, Jake, Murray, McCoy, Tate, and Wallace were all a part of your roster at some point this season.
That's true. Although McCoy and Wallace spent about a half hour on the team. They had
That's
a cup
true.
of coffee and left.
They didn't even unpack their bags
So
on their way.
I'm still waiting for Murray to get hurt to justify all those trades I made. So
Everybody is. Everybody knows that he's going to get hurt. It's a slam dunk.
No one more than me and Lance Dunbar on my bench.
That's right. It's funny. I think it's crazy how much people are harping on Murray eventually getting hurt when name a running back that isn't injury prone, that can't get hurt. Like every single running back gets hurt, and every running back will get hurt at some point. So whether he misses a week or two or whatever or more, it's part of a running back. Like I just think it's crazy how much people harp on Murray. But I digress.
Yeah.
This isn't a podcast. We got to have a quick show here. All right.
That's right. We're at the 7-minute mark. Let's go.
We got to speed up. All right. So next up, we got Bad Blue Boys versus Chooch Island. This, I actually think, will be a pretty good matchup. Chooch, as we mentioned at the beginning, 2-game winning streak. Bad Blue Boys really struggling, but not making any roster changes as usual. Shocker there that he just is content with a mediocre team. Chooch making a lot of moves that have actually benefited his team. He has a whole new roster from a couple weeks ago. He's got Rodgers, Bente, Joique Bell, Julian Edelman, Watkins. Actually, all of these players were not on his team a few weeks ago. And two-game winning streak to show for it. So I'm gonna go with Chooch Island this time. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. Chooch has got the best team he's had to date, I think, and he picked up Aaron Rodgers on the cheap. Rodgers is going against New Orleans secondary. I think that's going to be a big point week for Rodgers, and the Mirzoyan Carolina Panthers are facing Seattle, who I think their defense is due for a better performance, and so I think it's going to be a tough week for Al against Chuck.
Yep, I agree. All right, so we got two.
What'd you do? Just pick a wedgie there?
What's that?
What were you doing? Picking a wedgie?
No, but should I? When was I picking a wedgie?
Just like you're jumping up and down over there.
I don't know.
Let's keep going.
I think I was adjusting the screen, but it's not a bad idea. I'll check out the wedgie situation in a second. All right, WrestleMania versus Kindergarten Cop. As you mentioned, Snoots has been very fortunate this year with points against. His team's looking pretty strong with Le'Veon Bell having a good week last week. Brandon Oliver still leading the carries for the Chargers. Drew Brees, yep, he's been solid. I'm gonna go with Snoots in this one. I'm also hoping for Snoots to beat Kindergarten Cop. What do you think?
This is an important matchup for both these guys because they're both sitting at about both 4-3, 1 game out of their respective divisions.
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to go with Kindergarten Cop here to be different than you, and because I think that Randall Cobb, Nick Foles, his running backs, I think he's just got a more solid team top to bottom this week.
All right.
And Ronnie Hillman too. He's got Ronnie Hillman in the flex who is coming off a big game, and and if he can keep that going, that'll be good for Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah. I agree. Actually, I'm starting to second guess my choice, but I'll stick with Snooter Badooter. All right. Washington Woo Woos versus the Strip Club Casanovas. Johnny Hart is 5-2. He did lose this past week, but his roster is still looking pretty solid. He lost Fred Jackson, so he's having to insert Darren McFadden into his running back slot there. Julius Thomas having an awesome year. T.Y. Hilton doing well. Strip Club Casanova is just really struggling. Obviously, they're 1-6. They're the worst team in the league right now. And Andre Williams is on a bye, so he's having to figure out another position there in his running back slot. We got waivers tomorrow. This is the first show we've done before waivers, so it's a little more difficult. But I'm gonna go with John Hart either way. I think regardless of who BMAC picks up in that running back position, the Woo-Woos will take this one.
Yeah, Ross, I think the best cure for a 5-2 team with a 1-game win streak is a matchup with the Strip Club Casanovas because I just can't.
It's always beautiful to see.
I think John Hart's running backs are pathetic, but I'm looking at the McNamara lineup here, and I just don't see a way for him to win this game. He's probably going to spend about $200 free agent dollars on Denard Robinson, who will, follow up his 120-yard rushing performance with about 13 and a fumble. So I'm going with the Woo-Woos to extend it to 6-2 and stay out of reach of Bergie-licious and the rest of the Hard Times division for one more week.
Yeah.
Or are you guys happy? You guys are happy endings.
We're happy endings, yep. Yep. Well, I hope Strip Club Casanova wins, but I think Woo-Woos will take that one. All right. And then we got Grimsley Bears and Ducktown Quackers, two teams that are also battling for the worst team in the league, along with BMAC. Grimsley Bears is struggling and also not making any moves as well. It's surprising to see teams just go down the tubes and just be okay with it. I don't get it. But Grimsley Bears at least has a full roster as we speak right now. Well, actually, Ducktown Quackers just made a trade for Colin Kaepernick, but he's on a bye this week. So he'll have a decent quarterback going forward. Had to give up Pierre Garcon in that deal. Which is also a little surprising because he traded Pierre Garcon for Jimmy Graham, Pierre Garcon and Bishop Sankey. But
Pierre Garcon has been on every team in the league this year.
It's true. It's true. He's a slut. He's an absolute slut. All right, so I think
he's the legal.
He is. He is. I'm gonna go with the Grimsley Bears in this one. I think Jordan Cameron has a decent game. Alshon Jeffrey, Stafford, Ducktown Quackers really he has Forte and Brown as consistent players that'll put up a lot of points. I think this will be a close game. I think they'll both score 80 points, 85 points, but I think Grimsley Bears will take this one.
All right, I'm going to go opposite you again. I'm going to say this is the week the Ducktown Quackers bounce back.
Right.
He should have beaten me on Monday night, but Antonio Brown got a touchdown called back that I was already sleeping for, but I woke up to some frantic texts from Rag about it.
Oh yeah.
And he'll hit the waivers over the next couple days and fill out his quarterback and flex spots here.
Yeah.
And I think Rag will find a way to manufacture a win here.
All right, cool. We're different on some of these. All right, how about Fredericksburg Flying Macaques versus Masturbation? I think we might differ on this one as well. Both of you guys are 5-2, so we're going to skip ahead and say that this is the marquee matchup because a 10-4 combined record is the best we can possibly do here. This is a huge game, obviously, for both of you. This could be a season-deciding matchup here. I think your team. Well, it's surprising you're starting Percy Harvin now in his first game with the Jets, so he better get well acclimated to that offense in a couple of days. Kendall Wright, Keenan Allen, also I think a little volatile suspect. So, they could put up big numbers, but I'm going to go with the Flying Macaques in this one. I think the dynamic duo of Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas, once again, just too much for Masturbation this week. What do you think?
Well, I clearly have to pick myself whether or not there's reasonable logic behind it, but
you don't have to.
I think what I have potentially going for me here is that Manning and Thomas are playing on Thursday night, so you never know what might happen.
Right. And they played late Sunday night too, so that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, right. It's a quick turnaround. Peyton's not going to have his time to study up like he usually does.
Right.
But then again, the Thursday night matchups have tended to be high-scoring blowouts for the home team, so
right.
Hard to say. But when I look at the rest of Jed's lineup, I don't see a whole lot of guys that scare me. Lamar Miller's played well. Steve Smith also has played well. Mark Ingram coming back off an injury. So there's some guys that can do damage, but I am hoping to ride Wilson and Lynch to a couple of big days. Alfred Morris will need to step up, and I haven't fully decided whether Harvin will start over one of the crummy guys I have on my bench, like Bernard Pierce or Chris John. I mean, I don't really have many other good options, so I think I'm going to go with Harvin. The Jets are saying that they're going to give Harvin the ball a lot, so I'm going to hope that happens
this first week.
And hope that maybe one. Yeah. They're just going to find ways to get him the ball because they don't have many other good options, and if between him. If he finds the end zone or Wright or Allen find the end zone, one of my wide receivers, I think I got a good shot.
Hopefully he doesn't get in a fight with Jeremy Curley right before the game starts. So let's see, and then the last matchup, A-Town Rat Tails versus Fighting Frog Swamps. I think this is actually a bit of a rivalry in the Hard Times division. I bet they both get amped up to play each other here. Fighting Frog Swamps 4-3, A-Town Rat Tails 2-4-1. Frog Swamp's going to have to pick someone up here for Frank Gore on a bye. But I actually think Jamie's gonna put this one together. I think Vereen was a big trade for him. I really like that acquisition for him. Lacey, I think will bounce back and get his shit together. Same thing with Cutler, who struggled last week. So I'm gonna go with the Rat Tails in this one in an upset.
You call this an upset?
Yeah.
I guess
Rat Tails over Frog Swamps?
The records indicate an upset, but the projections are for Rat Tails to score twice as many points.
I'm not even looking. I don't even have projections up. I don't look at. I think projections carry no weight. So I hate when I look at that. But yeah, but now I'm looking at the projections, and yes, that verifies my thinking. But also, Frog Swamps is clearly going to pick up a running back. Clearly going to put someone in for Wayne and a kicker. So he'll have a lineup that'll get close to 100 probably when projections are up tomorrow.
I agree. The Shane Vereen deal and the deal I'm talking about is Keenan Allen for Shane Vereen between Jed and I.
Yeah.
Jed took a lot of heat for that, but when you look back at what these two guys have done since that trade, Vereen has clearly been the better player. No one could have predicted that Ridley would go down, but if I could go back with a crystal ball and do that again, I certainly wouldn't have traded Vereen. He would be in the starting lineup.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a nice pickup for A-Town.
Yep.
And, unfortunately, Dr. B has been a victim of putting a lot of his chips on Calvin Johnson, who just can't stay on the field.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, Jake, we're coming up.
I'm going to go with the Rat Tail. I'm going with the Rat Tails, and we're almost at 20 minutes. So
we're at 20 minutes, so that's the absolute cutoff. This is not a podcast, and we'll save some of the.
That's right. We have standards.
That's right.
This show has standards.
We have standards. Anything else? This might be your only recap show for the year. So this is an open forum for you. If you got any other words of advice or anything else for the league, Jake, or are you good?
No, we're over 20 minutes, so I'll let everyone go. I think I've said enough, but I appreciate you having me on here.
Of course.
And giving me this wonderful forum to pontificate about.
Of course. Well, we've had some clowns on the last couple weeks.
Lackluster opinions.
Yeah, we've had some clowns on the last couple weeks, as Rag would say. Perhaps a little under the influence, so it's good to have some real, genuine analysis from you, Jake. So we appreciate
That's
your
right.
time.
Yeah. I'm really classing it up.
Classing it up. All right, so now you can put your mouth guard in, kiss your wife, good night, and go to bed, Jake.
Good night.
Good night, Amanda. All right.
Good night.
Later.
See you, bye.